What do you think of Dr. Nkrumah?
He's doing well to our country, and I like him very much.
What do you think of Dr.
Oh, I like him the same. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, I like him.
What do you think?
Oh, I don't like him.
Why not?
Because he's a dictator.
He wants to be a dictator?
Yes.
Ghana have had 14 head of state since independence, and each one of them has contributed their quota to the development of the Ghana we live in today. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was the first head of state Ghana had, and as president of Ghana, he ruled for 6 years from 1960 before he was overthrown in a coup d'etat in 1966. Nkrumah's regime was followed by a series of short-lived military and civilian governments until 1981, when Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings began his 19-year reign as the head of state of Ghana. And after Rawlings, we've had John Agyekum Kuffour, John Evans Atamos, John Dramani Mahama, and the incumbent Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. In this video, we'll be talking about the ugly side of some of these head of states you probably didn't know about. To many Ghanaians, Nkrumah is remembered for his positives rather than his negatives. Nkrumah led Gold Coast to independence from the British in 1957. But Nkrumah didn't find it easy ruling Ghana. Shortly after independence, he began having problems with some section of Ghanaians who were not happy with his administration. Criticisms were coming from opposition, some civilians, and even some traditional leaders were not even happy with Nkrumah's government. Nkrumah also got to know that there was an assassination plot against him, and all this made him felt he needed to be heavy-handed in order to rule the country. So for instance, chiefs or traditional leaders who were critical of Nkrumah, principally in the Ashanti region, most of the chiefs in the Ashanti region did not support Nkrumah. And he had them this too. That wasn't all. He introduced the Preventive Detention Act, which allowed Prime Minister, he was the Prime Minister then, he introduced the Preventive Detention Act, which allowed prime ministers to imprison individuals for up to 5 years without any trial. In 1959, it was increased to 10 years. And in 62, anybody who fell victim was imprisoned indefinitely. However, to most Ghanaians at the time, the PDA became a blatant restriction of individual freedom and violation of human rights. And it was one of the key strategies Nkrumah used to silence his opponents. But sadly, one member of the Big Six, who was a former party member of Kwame Nkrumah, Joseph Boakye Dankwa, also known as JB Dankwa, fell victim and was imprisoned at Nsawam. On the 4th of February 1965, he suffered a heart attack and died in prison. Dr. Kofi Abrifa-Buzia, who was the leader of opposition at the time, feared for his life and exiled in England. In fact, most opposition at the time even joined CPP to avoid persecution under Nkrumah's administration. Many scholars believe this Preventive Detention Act did more to hurt Nkrumah's reputation than it helped him. On the 24th of February 1966, Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown. Before Lieutenant General Joseph Atta-Ankra ousted Kwame Nkrumah in a military coup in 1966, there was a leakage of information concerning a coup in 1965, which involved Ankra. Upon hearing it, Kwame Nkrumah dismissed Ankra from the military, according to historical records, in the voice of Joseph Atta-Ankra. I was the first to have made plans to overthrow Nkrumah. It was as a result of the careless handling of the plans by J.W.K. Halley, who I recruited because of the vital role of the police, that I was dismissed by the president. But Ankra's dismissal from the army didn't put an end to his plans to overthrow Kwame Nkrumah. I also briefed Kotuka, but Kotuka was then a general staff officer too, and he couldn't do anything. Fortunately, though I was on retirement, Nkrumah asked me to draw up an order of battle for him. I took advantage of the opportunity and posted Kotuka to command a brigade and he became the 2nd Brigade Commander, a place which offered him the chance to move troops to the Flagstaff House. Ankrah's plots worked to perfection, and the National Liberation Council were able to overthrow Kwame Nkrumah. However, during his time as the head of state, he was implicated in a bribery scandal. Lieutenant Joseph Atta Ankrah admitted taking 6,000 cedis bribe from one Nigerian businessman who was called Atta Nzerbe to manipulate a public opinion poll, which made it seem as if Ghanaians wanted him to be the next civilian president. Following the bribery scandal, he was forced to resign on the 2nd April 1969. Following the resignation of Joseph Atta Ankrah in 1969, Lieutenant General Akwesi Amankwa Efrifa, who was also a member of the National Liberation Council, replaced him. Shortly after replacing him, he handed over to Dr. Kofi Abrefa-Buzia, while he continued to serve as a chairman in the newly created Presidential Commission. Efrifa wasn't involved in any public scandal, neither was he harshly criticized by Ghanaians. However, his party member Joseph Atta Ankrah made some startling revelations about the former head of state. According to Joseph Atta Ankrah, the bribery scandal in 1969 wasn't the main reason behind his resignation as the head of state, but rather he learned Akwesi Amankwa Efrifa was planning to assassinate him. In the words of Ankrah, he said, "I resigned because Efrifa had persisted in his plans to kill me. He planned the first abortive coup of April 17, 1967 against me, but unfortunately it was Kotuka that was killed. After that abortive coup, other attempts were made to kill me. I once caught Harley and him in Harley's room at about 11 p.m. without lights, plotting. With these things, I said to myself, I'm a soldier, and I know how easy it is to kill a head of state. You put a guard to watch the area, and he will take all the magazine and put in just one. When you are going, he shoots. When you fall dead, there will be a lot of inquiry. But the guard will say he took everything out and was trying to clean the rifle. He did not know there was ammunition in it. Nobody can do anything to him." So these were words of Lieutenant General Joseph Atta Ankrah about how Efrifa planned to assassinate him. And Ankrah believed it was Buzia and some other influential members in Buzia's party who were pushing Efrifa to kill him. He wanted to kill me because Buzia and his clique were inspiring him to do so they can take over. Ignatius Kutu Echampon was the 6th head of state of Ghana. He overthrew Dr. Kofi Abrefa-Buzia in 1972 and ruled Ghana for 6 years. It was under his reign he introduced ambitious projects like Operation Feed Yourself, Operation Feed Your Industries. He also commissioned the Dawenya irrigation project. He also upgraded our stadia into international standard. However, Echampon's relations with women became a very big issue during his time in office. During his time, he introduced the chit system, and this chit system became the only means retail traders, which was dominated by women at the time, could get access to essential products like milk, sugar, washing powder, and many others. These items were very scarce, and the powerful market women who were able to get access to these items during the chase system sold it at cut-through prices, and they were making a lot of money. So some began showing off their wealth by buying cars. The VW Golf was one of the elegant cars you could find at the time, and most of these women purchased this car. So some critics of Echampon began propagating that he bought the car for them. In fact, other critics also claimed some women traded sex for the cars. So they coined this term, Fawutobeji Golf, which translates into English as bring your behind and take golf. Very interesting. Actually, it was part of the widespread rot under his administration, which got him ousted in 1978 by Fred Ekufuor. Rawlings was one of the young officers in the military who grew discontented with the declining state of the economy and also the mismanagement and damages done by the past head of state. So on the 15th of May 1979, Rawlings and 6 other soldiers staged a coup, but they were not able to topple Fred Kuffour, who was the head of state at the time. As a result, they got arrested and Rawlings was sentenced to death. But while waiting execution in prison, with the help of some soldiers, he was able to escape. He staged another coup that same year, and this time around he was successful and ousted Fred Kuffour. Shortly after the takeover, the Armed Forces Revolutionary Council arranged the execution by firing squad of 8 military officers, including 3 heads of state, a champon, and a former border guard commander, Major General Emmanuel Utuka, were the first to be executed. 10 days later, General FIFA and General Kuffour, alongside 4 other military officers, were executed by firing squad. And these are indelible and dramatic events in the history of Ghana. Until date, there are some people who still have resentment against the late Jerry John Rawlings because of these executions. Nana Sewa Echampong, who is one of the daughters of Ignatius Kutu Echampong, is one of these people. And she expressed her dissatisfaction after the death of Jerry John Rawlings in 2020, saying that Rawlings' death was too simple, was too comfortable. Nana Sewa Echampong felt his dad's death was way too painful, tied to the stake, bullets spread into his body before he gave up the ghost, an execution which rendered her fatherless since she was 6 years old. If not the best, John Agyekum Kuffour is one of the best presidents to ever rule Ghana. His 8-year reign marked improvement of infrastructure in the country and also introduced some social intervention programs like the National Health Insurance, also called the NHIS, the Metro Mass Transport, and a lot more. And these initiatives brought remarkable transformation in the socio-economic development of the country. Positives under his administration were more than the negatives, and that is what Ghanaians remember him for. But one of the negatives under his administration was the wrongful conviction of Ghanaian lawyer Chachu Chikata. Chikata was the CEO of the Ghana National Petroleum Company under the NDC, under Rawlings' administration. During Kuffour's reign, he was tried for causing financial loss of 230,000 Ghana cedis to the state. The trial, which began in 2002, lasted for 6 years, and on the 18th of June 2008, he was pronounced guilty. It was the longest trial that has ever been recorded involving a former government official in the history of Ghana. Sympathizers of Chachu Chikata and the NDC were not happy with his conviction, and they even formed Free Chachu movement to protest against his conviction. However, he was given a presidential pardon by John Agyekum Kuffour on his last day in office after the MPP lost the 2008 presidential election. But Chachu Chikata was keen on proving his innocence and rejected the pardon and was eager to go through the court system to clear his name. At the time of the pardon, he was ailing at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, battling a severe asthma. However, on the 13th of January 2009, he was granted bail and was no longer required to serve the jail term. On the 30th of November 2016, the truth finally came out. Chachu Chikata was declared innocent by the appeals court and cited that he wasn't given a fair opportunity to defend himself. And let me say this real quick. By pointing the faults or mistakes of these leaders, I don't mean they were all bad. I don't mean they were all not good head of states. They all contributed what they can to the development of Ghana. But since they are human beings and human beings are fallible, we are capable of making mistakes. These were some of the mistakes and bad things they orchestrated, with some happening under their administration. On this note, thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Thank you very much.